Hello, everybody. It's about that time. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey, everybody. Thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Looky here. We got us a pumpkin beer. This is Cigar City's Seasonal Creep. I've not had this beer before. I've done most of the pumpkin beers over the last 5 years, guys. And I'm not a big fan of some of the pumpkin beers. Some of them are rather tasty, but a lot of them seem to be more of the pumpkin pie spice than the actual pumpkin. Some people like that. Some people don't. I'm not a fan of pumpkin beer showing up in June or July or August. I'm really not interested in drinking pumpkin beers until after Labor Day. I mean, September, October, November is when I'm interested in, once the cooler weather gets here and stuff. And on top of that, Cigar City used to make a lot of beers like this in the big 750 milliliter, like Marshall Zukov, and probably this if it was done before. And now they've downsized all those to the 22-ounce bombers, but the price is still the same. So I like a lot of stuff that Cigar City does. As far as I'm concerned, they're probably one of the better breweries in Florida, but they're capitalizing on that success too, downsizing the beer bottles, charging the same price, and a lot of other breweries have done the same thing too. They figured out they've got a good thing, and they can charge the same amount for 22 ounces as they can for 750 milliliters. So they've downsized the bottles and kept the price about the same. So that's the way it is in the beer world. Once they figure out they've got a good thing going, they do stuff like that. And that's just the world we live in, guys. That's just the craft. What makes the craft beer world run around and around and around. My good friend Dennis lives down in Florida. Picked up a couple of these and sent them to me. Like I said, I've got two of them. I'm going to go ahead and review one, and I'm going to save one for probably around Halloween before I drink the next one. This one was actually, it's got a date on here, but it's got a lot of condensation on it, and I probably can't see it. They've got an etching on here, and I'll read that when I come back, but I'm pretty sure this was bottled in June. So, even being in Florida, where the growing season's year-round down there, don't think they had any pumpkins, fresh pumpkins, in June. Maybe mistaken, but I pretty much bet the farm on that they've either used some frozen pumpkin, some canned pumpkin, or something like that. Not fresh pumpkin when they brewed this beer. Like I said, I have not had this beer before. Whether they've done it before or not, I am not sure. He's seen it and picked him up for me and sent him to me. So let's get on with this one. This is a big beer. This is an 8.3%er. IBUs are 41 on this. This is considered a chocolate. According to what the label says, it says chocolate pumpkin ale with spices added. And they don't have the ABV listed on the bottle anywhere. And they don't have the IBUs listed on the bottle anywhere. Guys, I was at the brewery. It's okay. It's got a nice setup. The guy that gave the tour was really, really nice. Real funny, really nice. One of the owners was there, and I went up to introduce myself, and he basically didn't have any time to talk to me. It's the way it is. When you're a peon like me, a lot of the big wheels don't have time to carry on a conversation with you. So wasn't a pleasant experience trying to get a word in with him. Also went up to the the brew pub. Now that was a completely different experience. Went up there, and I think his name was Russell, was the manager up there. They brewed different beers at both places. They brewed both places. He bent over backwards to make sure we had a great dinner, and some of the beers that they brewed there, I was able to get some of those and bring them back and review them for y'all. But completely different atmosphere there than it was at the brewery. I enjoyed the brew pub more so than the brewery. I really did. Just taking the time to talk to somebody sometimes goes a long way. And when you think you're up here and we're down here, that's the attitude that I got. Like, who are you? I don't have time for this. That's the impression I got. So, as far as I'm concerned, Cigar City, go stick it up your freaking ass. You make some great beers, but your attitude sucks, dudes. Now, as far as the brew pub, that was a pleasant experience. I did enjoy that. If I go back down to Cigar City, I won't go to the brewery again. I'll go back to the brew pub. I will, and have dinner and chat with the people there, because they are very friendly there. So, experience and being nice to people goes a long way sometimes, and that's where I'm going to leave it. So once you get big like Cigar City is, sometimes the upper echelon don't have time to talk to the peons like me. So that's just the real world. That's the way it goes. What we need to talk about now, we got the IBUs out of the commercial description. Says chocolate pumpkin ale with spices added. Over to food pairings, it says here, since it's not a recognized style, it says general dessert, and the meat is poultry. Glass brought pint, becker, non tumbler. I'm going to use my favorite glass for this one, guys. The Sovereign beer glass. And it says here, not recommended for extended celerings unless ABV extends the average range. I don't know what would deter you being an 8.3%er. I don't know if the chocolate's going to fade or what would fade to keep you from cellaring this for a little while. If any of you guys have any information on why you could not sell this, you might want to post them in the comments. But I don't see why this beer wouldn't keep for at least 6 months, a year, maybe even 2. I don't know what would fade over time trying to cellar this beer if you cellar it correctly. So, with that being said, I don't think there's anything else we need to talk about. So let me pop the cap on this one and get it into the glass. Nice hiss. Big hiss. That tells me it's probably going to be pretty carbonated, guys. So we're going to pour it fairly easy to start off with. And now we'll go into a little heavier back end pour. Alright. 22 ounce, definitely enough to share, and that's what I intend to do. About a finger of head on that pour. Very dark looking beer. Over into the light, I am seeing a nice ruby color. A little bit of a mix between the brown and the ruby color. It's a little lighter through the thin part of the glass down here, guys. There are quite a few bubbles streaming up. It looks to be fairly well carbonated. Not over carbonated, just enough. Let's get a nose on it. Not getting a whole lot of chocolate in the nose. Getting your typical pumpkin pie spices, the nutmeg, the cinnamon, the ginger, and the clove. And to be honest with you guys, it just says chocolate pumpkin ale with spices added. Oh, I couldn't guarantee there's any pumpkin in this beer. It might just be the spices giving it that, so I do not know. Let's see, one more thing. An insidious beast, that seasonal creep. A few days here, a week here, there. Before you know it, you are hanging a Christmas stocking on your jack-o'-lantern and hiding painted eggs in the pumpkin pie. But there is no use fighting. Be still and let the cold claw of seasonal creep seize your palate with a tumult of chocolate, pumpkin, and spice flavors. So maybe there is some pumpkin. Well, we'll find out in just a second. Let's give it a taste. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Dennis. Appreciate it, my brother. Just an ever so slight bit of chocolate in there, guys. Not getting it on the nose, just a hint of it in the taste. A decent beer, it is. I'll be honest with you. Very pleasant. Nice pumpkin pie spices, the cinnamon and nutmeg, the allspice, the ginger and the clove is all there. Not overbearing. The alcohol is very well hidden. But the chocolate is very subdued. So maybe the chocolate is what's going to fade. I don't know. Like I said, this was bottled in June. July, August, September. It's 3 months. But it is very subdued, very faint on the chocolate. I was expecting it to be just a tad darker with some chocolate in there, so I don't know if they threw some cocoa nibs in the fermenting or where they're getting their chocolate from. Decent beer. It's a decent beer. Not blowing me away or anything, but it's decent. Very easy drinking for an 8.3%. And the IBU's at 41. It's not very bitter. It's a pretty good beer. It is a pretty good beer. Well, let me take it back and sip on it for just a little bit and pour her a glass, and we'll see where this one ends up. I'll be right back, and I think it's above average beer, guys. Might even get to the A category. I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna sip on it a while first. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. Been sipping on it about 45 minutes or so. The other half liked it. She could taste the chocolate a little more than I can. Now that it's warmed up, I am getting more of the chocolate notes in there, but it's not a big chocolate. The pumpkin pie spices are there. I mean, all the typical pumpkin pie stuff, the nutmeg, the cinnamon, the ginger, the clove, the allspice, they're all there. It's got a nice mouthfeel to it. I don't know how much pumpkin they use in the brewing of this beer. It's a decent beer. It's definitely above average. Might be as bold enough to say that it's probably at the bottom end of the A's, but I'm on the fence between a B plus and an A minus on this one. So let's do the final chug on this one. It's very well made, no doubt about it. Very decent. Very decent. Guys, like I said, I'm on the fence between a B plus and an A minus. I'm going to probably give it to B plus. If you say, oh, that's an A beer, I wouldn't argue with that. But this beer being bottled the first week of June, I mean, summer is just getting started in. I am not a fan of pumpkin beers in June or July or even August as far as I'm concerned, when it's 95 degrees outside and the humidity's 75% and I'm sweating like a gorilla. I'm just not into the fall beers at that time when it's that hot. That's why I've waited till now, here in September, to review this beer. Granted that it may have had a little bit better chocolate notes. I'm not sure. In June, I didn't have the beer in June. I just got this beer probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Than it does now. But that being said, I'm not interested in, and it seems like every year the pumpkin beers come out earlier and earlier and earlier. And a few of them don't. They wait until September to bring their pumpkin beers out, which is, and I applaud them. Thumbs up to those for that. And it wouldn't surprise me, guys, within a year or 2 or 3, that the pumpkin beers will be out in January. I mean, you'll be able to get a pumpkin beer year-round, just about, probably. I don't know if there's enough people to support that or not. A lot of people love pumpkin beers, and they probably would be willing to drink them year-round. I'm that way with stouts. A lot of people don't like to drink stouts when it's warm, but I don't have a problem with that. Usually finish up with a nice stout in the evening, or a porter or something like that. But I'm just not into the pumpkin beers drinking year-round, or drinking them when it's 95 degrees outside. I'm just not. It's just me, though. It's just my opinion. This is a nice beer, like I said. It is very nice. Probably my first pumpkin beer of the year, or of the season. But this beer's been in the bottle since June, so that tells me they did not use fresh pumpkin. They've used either some kind of frozen pumpkin, canned pumpkin, or whatever. Even being in Florida, I don't think there's any pumpkins available in April or May, so they could brew this beer and put it in the bottle in June. So, yeah, like I said, it just keeps getting earlier and earlier, and it's out of hand. I mean, everybody wants to be the first one to bring their pumpkin beer out. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me to see them in February or March or April before too long, or even year-round for some of them. So, 7 for me, B+. If I was putting a numeric rating on this, guys, it would probably be 88 or 89. Just because they brought it out in June, and I'm not interested in drinking a pumpkin beer in that time of the year in June. So, over to Beer Advocate. Beer Advocate says they need 10 reviews before they'll post a rating on this beer. So, they've had 5. So, evidently there are some other people that is not interested in drinking pumpkin beers, or they would have more reviews on this beer by now. But over to Rate Beer, they do have it. They have it listed as overall 96 and 99 in the style. Awesome numbers from those guys over there. Like I said, if you tell me, though, this is a 9 or a 10 beer, I'm not going to argue with that. I will not. But to me, with it just having the date on it and no IBUs on the bottle, or especially no ABV, if you're drinking this out in a bar or a pub, or if you're just going to the store to buy this and there's no ABV on the bottle, how are you to know how big that beer is, other than looking at the price? Like I said, I think this is, I think Dennis picked this up either at the brewery or at one of the beer stores close to the brewery. And it's around a $12 for a bomber, which I think is a little on the pricey side. But, I mean, it's better than $20 for a bottle, or $25 for a bottle. If I'm going to pay $12 to $15 for a beer, I'd like to see it in a bigger bottle. I mean, get your money's worth, instead of them downsizing all the bottles to a 22 ounce instead of the 750 milliliter. And like I said earlier, the Anheuser-Busch used to come in a 750. Now they've downsized that down to a 22 ounce, and they still charge the same price for the beer. Got to gouge you when you can, I guess. That's how it works in the beer world, especially when they know they got a good thing going on. So, with that being said, we give you the ratings. It's a 7 for me, guys. It's a B+. It's a good beer, and I was on the fence there. If it had the IBUs or at least the ABV on the bottle, maybe I would step up and say it's a 8, which is an A-. But it didn't blow me away. I mean, to me personally, I don't consider it an outstanding world-class beer. It's definitely above average. It's definitely worth trying if you've never had it before, if you like the pumpkin beers. But it's a well-made beer. I mean, I didn't get any of the alcohol, slight hints of the chocolate, typical pumpkin pie spices. It's a good beer. It's a good beer. So if you've had this one, their Seasonal Creep, which is a chocolate pumpkin ale with spices. Let me know what you think, guys. And Dennis, thanks, brother. I do appreciate you gathering this up and sending it to me. Got one more for later. Like I said, I'll probably have that sometime in October, maybe at the end of October toward Halloween. That's when when it's like 50 degrees outside, when it's cooler outside. That's when I enjoy these type of beers, not when it's 90 degrees. So, that being said, let me know what you think. All right, guys, come on back tomorrow. Let's go see what's in the fridge. See you then.